Yo, terribly sorry for the delay on the last video, but we are now back on track, and today we are building an angled sub box. Check it out. Now that we've gotten to this point, we're going to go ahead and make my sub box, which is going to sit right here. And I've already measured it, but it needs to be about 10.5 inches long, so that it'll sit up to like right before this seam, and then 10.5 inches tall, so that it's not too tall, so that this hits it when it closes. Now I have to measure the sub box over here, which I have also already measured, to find out how tall the actual piece for the sub has to be, and it's just about 13.5, just shy of 13.5. And that goes to show that we're gonna have to make an angled sub box. I did some trig, and this is what I figured out for the measurements for the boards, in order for it to fit within the spot that I have. Alright, so one box is down, you can see it right there. The sub is pretty big and actually won't fit in this box. Now the issue that I'm working with is that even with this small box, it barely has enough room to fit. The way I measured it was that so the sub sticking out of this opening would clear this just barely, and it seems that the actual magnet of the sub doesn't fit in the box. And I do know that with a box this small, I'm gonna end up losing sound quality. So what I'm gonna do for that side is make the same box, but make it just a tiny bit bigger. I think I can still get it to fit in the trunk. However, I still will have that lack of sound quality, but there's nothing that I can really do about that. I could build a bigger box with fiberglass, but I don't really feel like doing that. I'd rather sacrifice quality, have an easier, good-looking job, and like I said, sacrifice the sound quality. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start building this box. This one right here, I'll pull it out so you can see. That's the whole design of it. I got hole on this side for the wires to come through for the amp, and then same thing on this side, and then I put a hole in the back so I can feed the wires through. This box is for nothing but looks, no kind of sound functionality or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and start making the other box. So here's my reconfigured design for the box for the sub. Hopefully this one ends up working. So this bottom piece is going to be 10.5 inches long, like that. And then this piece is going to be 11 inches. Technically the box is going to be 11.5 inches tall, but I'm just ignoring the thickness of this bottom piece because this box basically just sits on top of the bottom piece. This top piece is going to be 3 9/16, minus a ½ inch because of the thickness of this. And then this main board is going to be 13 inches exactly. And then these are both going to have 29-degree cuts right here so that it sits perfect, and then this cut down here is going to be 32.2 degrees. And hopefully everything goes together just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting it. So I did double check it, but where I've been cutting right here, this is already 13.25 inches, which is how wide I want each piece to be. So I measured a line just straight from this, just continuing along that. And then I got this thing set for 10.5 inches, which is how long the bottom piece has to be. So I'm going to go ahead and come up here. And I got my line there for this piece. And now I'm just going to continue off the line so I have something to follow when I'm cutting. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the bottom piece. So now I got the bottom piece. Now I need to mark the next piece. The next piece is going to be the back. The back is the same thing but 11 inches tall instead of 10.5. So first I'm going to measure this, make sure it's still 13.5 inches, or 13.25. It's actually not. It's
mark 13¼ right here. Might have to cut some of that piece off. There's 13¼ Make sure you go beyond 11 inches. Now I'll mark this side at 11 inches.
Of a cliff, realize there must be more to life than this. Reaching for the stars, traveling so far, like a dragonfly. Just grab my hand from him, send me tonight.
Now we're gonna go from this side because if I can, I like to work off of something that was a straight edge from the factory or from the store, wherever it was cut. This, on the other hand, is not straight edge. Alright, now this one's going to be 3 1/16. Go ahead and get that going right here. Alright, now we need to cut the angle in it. The angle is 29 degrees. So I'll go just a fuzz below 30. Alright. Oh, now we got the angle cut in it that we need. And we'll start cutting the front piece. And now we're going to cut the front piece. I already cut the angle on this side. We're just cutting this and then here, and then I'm going to recut an angle on this side.
And if it hurts me or I get scared, just come take this risk now.
Alright, now I got to set the angle to 32.2. It's about right there. This battery died. Might have to wait for the other one to charge, but I'm gonna go get it, see if I can get it, just this last piece to cut. So now that I have the front piece cut out, I'm measuring for the hole of the sub's gonna bolt into. I measured the hole from the old box and it was just under 11 inches. I measured the diameter of this bucket and it was also just a fuzz under 11 inches. So I measured this out. It's got about an inch on this side and an inch on the other side, and then an inch and an eighth on this side and an inch and an eighth on the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and draw the circle around the bucket. And now I have my circle that I need to cut out. And what I'm going to do is just drill a hole, a pretty big hole over here, and start there. And use a whatever kind of saw this is to cut that out. Alright, it's the next day and I'm going to go ahead and work on gluing these pieces together. I'm only putting 2 in so it still has some movement so that we can get the box to sit perfect, and then I'll put some more in. Alright, so now I can see the box is going to be just fine. I want to wipe off this glue. Now we're going to see if the sub fits before I bolt all this together. It's a really tight fit. As you can see, it's extremely close to fitting. If I have to, I'll make a new box, but I think I can make this work. I'm going to shave some of this from in here and here. and then maybe find a ring to go around the sub to space it out just a little bit. And that should get it to fit. Because if I make the box any bigger, I don't think the sub's going to fit in the trunk. So, we'll figure out what's going on. But first I'm going to go ahead and glue this together. It's so close to actually fitting. I'm going to go ahead and grind those out and see if I can get this thing to fit. Just so you guys can see how tight of space I'm working with here. With the amp in this spot, the trunk actually doesn't close. I'm going to have to move the amp a little bit over this way, and then it'll close just fine. This sub, once I get it to sit in, like right now it doesn't close, but once I get this sub to sit in flush all the way, then this will be able to close past it, just barely. I mean, you can see how close it is right there. Same with the amp. Alright, I got the sub to fit in the box by grinding away some of the backside there and some of the bottom. Now you might be saying to yourself at this point, wow, that's really ghetto. And you know what? You're right. But if you can think of a better way to fit this 12-inch sub in my car, let me know. Alright, so now with the sub basically, or with the sub flush, the trunk basically closes. The only thing stopping it is really this clip, which obviously this stuff can be moved, but I shouldn't have to do that. I actually can't even open the center anymore. So you see the sub hangs over just a little bit. And the reasoning for that is these are the same size boxes. This one sits further back than this one because this one's taller, and I didn't account for this coming in higher at the top. So actually what I'm gonna do is I don't want to cut it because I want to maintain the structure a little bit, but I'm just going to hit it back with a hammer, and if I can hit it back like a 1/4 inch, then everything should fit perfectly. I was able to push it back just enough for the trunk to close and for this middle hatch to open. Now I'm just going to move this over about 1 inch just so that everything closes just fine. Alright, so I had to move this amp quite a few more times, probably 4 more times, to get it to a spot where both this will open and the trunk will close. So I ended up having to move it down and over quite a bit, and then I had to move it back up because this wouldn't open anymore. And then I hammered that side a little bit to get this box to sit back a little further. But now we have our setup that we were looking for. So now I just need to make the sides of this box and then put in the piece that goes in the back of the box that the speaker wire connects to, and then wire everything up, and I'm all done for now at least. Alright, now I'm going to cut the hole for the wires to plug in the back. And it was a little bit too big, so I'm probably going to have to hot glue it or something just for the time being. Once I put the carpet in there, it should give it enough padding to hold it in place without glue. Now, cutting the sides to the box is actually very easy because you don't have to measure anything. You just set the box on its side on the board and then just trace it out, and then just cut out what you traced. That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching, guys. Tomorrow we will be wrapping the angled sub box. Like, comment, and subscribe.